Ladies and gentlemen, there are calls now to end the Mueller probe. Here's an article in Politico: Pressure builds for Durham to ditch Russia probe. However, there's also an article written a couple weeks ago with the title, John Durham has already won. So, in the court of public opinion, the Durham probe special counsel has already, especially with the testimony of Robbie Mook and Mark Elias and Federal Bureau of Investigation agents in the Sussman trial that ended in an acquittal, but still, the testimony and the information derived from that trial, the court of public opinion now sees everything for what it is. There was a concerted effort by numerous political operatives, government officials, the Clinton campaign, the Democratic Party, and others, media, to frame Trump. That's a fact. That's not some kind of conspiratorial nonsense. Now, the fantasy or the nonsense is the belief that everyone acted independently, apolitically. We know that Peter Strzok, one of the top agents, stated, "We'll stop Trump," literally stating, "We will stop Trump from becoming president." We know that. If the tables were turned, they would never allow that. We know that Clinton purchased the Steele dossier, and it was utilized by the United States government as, quote, raw intelligence. It was raw refuse. Democrats would never allow Rudy Giuliani or anyone in Trump's campaign to purchase a dossier and allow an outgoing administration's intel agencies and bureau chief to utilize that dossier against a Democrat. They wouldn't even allow us to speak about. We couldn't even speak about Hunter's emails. Do you understand? We couldn't even speak about Hunter's emails. And then 2 years later, coincidentally, now we can talk about it. Interesting how the time frame is okay now. Okay? That's why they're so petrified and horrified that and mortified that Elon Musk is going to run Twitter, because they've used Twitter as an extension of the Democratic Party. But when you have two articles in Politico, John Durham has already won. He's won in the court of public opinion already. That's very, very important, because there are going to be parallel investigations in the House and Senate when Trump Republicans, not just Paul Ryan Republicans, those are like dinosaurs. Those are relics. The Liz Cheney, Paul Ryan, Richard Burr, Donald Rumsfeld Republicans, those aren't the Republicans that are taking over the House and Senate. Those people actually sided with Democrats. They don't like Trump. When Richard Burr was the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee, he didn't like Trump. And so he got hooked up when there was potential insider trading where he sold stock right before the market downturn 2 years ago after being present in a classified briefing. So if you play ball, the system hooks you up. Fine. That same corrupt system failed to stop Trump in 2016. But they went after him every day after 2016. So the system was made to prevent somebody like Trump. Donald Trump, you might not like his personality, but he opposes never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts, military interventions, and he focuses on a great economy. And he doesn't mind, tariffs against China. He doesn't care about these things. These are sacred cows that Democrats and Republicans, wouldn't touch. And so he opposes the Lincoln Project foreign policy. It's a moral imperative to vote for Trump or DeSantis or anyone who votes against never-ending military intervention. Those people, the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld people, are within the Democratic Party. But see, again, I always talk about that. The Durham probe has essentially prevented or blocked any attempt at Biden or anyone else, mashed potato brains, ending or removing or dissolving the special counsel, because in the court of public opinion, especially among Republicans, Trump Republicans, conservatives, even people who don't like Trump, everyone understands now, even Democrats, that they set up and framed Trump. So you can't stop the Durham probe now, especially after what we learned from the Sussman trial. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. I have to let the world know that I have a stock market crash channel below and a Bitcoin crash channel. It's below in the pinned comment, or it will be in the pinned comment. If it's in the pinned comment of every one of my segments, just go to any segment on H.A. Goodman. You will see the Bitcoin crash and Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower channel and the stock market crash channel. I have very important segments on there today. So please go ahead and subscribe there. If you want to support my work, my Patreon is below. And ladies and gentlemen, I've been telling you the market was going to collapse and the economy was going to experience a terrible downturn since September of 2021. I'm not patting myself on the back. There's nothing to be gleeful about. I just was accurate. And did I not tell you everything that's taking place now? Go to the description section and you will see. So definitely subscribe to the stock market crash channel and the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower. I think Bitcoin, crypto, it's all going to implode. Coinbase, Tether. Unfortunately, these things won't be around in a year and a half. And that might sound extreme, but I explain in the Bitcoin crash channel and the stock market crash channel. Please share this segment. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll also explain right now why Trump should have fired Mueller, but why Biden can't do that with Durham. I want to read you really quickly. This is a Lawfare article. And Lawfare is exactly what Democrats are very good at. To be clear, this is an article titled, "Could Trump Remove Special Counsel Robert Mueller? Lessons from Watergate?" It's important to remember a couple things. Watergate was about a break-in. That was a crime. That there was a predicate crime. There was a break-in against the law. We knew that the plumbers who broke in were tied to Nixon. And then there was a cover-up with tapes that involved tape recordings. Okay, so you have a crime, a cover-up, and obstruction of justice. The obstruction of justice has to do with the crime, not an investigation into something that possibly could have taken place. Nobody said that Watergate might have happened. We just have to find out if it did. The break-in took place, okay? And it was somebody that worked in the Watergate building that found out. Okay, so the break-in took place. People were actually arrested. And it was a crime that the president either, knew about, but once he found, if he didn't know about it, once he found out about it, tried to cover it up. So it was linked to him, the money was linked to him, and it was an organized effort by the president to either break into the Democratic Party or the DNC headquarters in Watergate, or cover it up. So, Watergate has nothing to do with the Mueller probe. The Mueller probe was started by Comey's memos, the sour grapes and disgruntled rantings of a very, very, I would say like almost brilliant bureaucrat who had these memos that were actually classified, by the way, that he leaked. And these memos showed that, by the way, Trump asked him for loyalty. Oh my God. But he wasn't loyal to President Obama when he was investigating Trump. He was apolitical then. Oh my God. And so these were memos. You couldn't corroborate them. They were memorialized according to Comey, but who knows what if he's saying the truth or if he's telling the truth. He said that Loretta Lynch told him to call it a matter, and under oath, he said that under oath. She said under oath that he was lying, that she never told anyone to call the Clinton email probe just a matter. But see, again, they took Comey's testimony. What took place in that moment in time is that there was a political annihilation. Trump obliterated the Democratic Party by defeating Clinton. Nobody thought that he would win. I said that Clinton would lose to Trump. And I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024. Okay, I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024. Okay, or Clinton DeSantis. But because I want a rematch of 2016. But for a number of reasons that I always talk about. However, now I lost. Now I don't even know what I was saying. When Trump defeated Clinton, there was disbelief. The average Democrat said there had to be some kind of reason for this. So there just had to be a reason. You know what? It was another country. They let us know that Bernie Sanders was cheated through the DNC emails. And there were Facebook ads and Twitter bots that altered the gullible views or opinions of people in swing states. And because of an organized effort by a country that wanted Trump, because Trump was less hawkish, and you could actually accuse any president of being the operative of another country if they come in with a less hawkish or militant foreign policy. President Obama was a dove, less hawkish, less militant. He was the dove, and McCain was the hawk. And so was Romney. They were both hawks against Russia. And but President Obama came in with a reset. You didn't see the Bush administration say that President Obama was working with the Kremlin. But see again, President Obama, when he was outgoing president, his administration accused Trump of being the Kremlin's favorite. Why? Because he happened to have a different foreign policy. Notice how when Democrats can never be accused of having the foreign policy, of being influenced by another country, even when money is flowing to Hunter or to the foundation. Even then, even a money flow and beneficial treatment taking place, 20% of U.S. uranium capacity that wasn't vetoed by President Obama, you still can't accuse them of being influenced. But of course Trump was. Because, he was, obviously. And James Clapper and John Brennan said so. These people lied, I think, twice under oath, but they committed perjury once for sure. And so all these people are professional liars. And so they said that, we think that Trump, could have been influenced or could have been installed or could have been colluded in some way. He told Chuck Todd, James Clapper told Chuck Todd, we don't have any evidence, direct evidence that Trump worked with the Kremlin. Okay, they still went after him. There was no direct evidence. There was no break-in into the DNC, into Watergate. Watergate was a break-in. This was something that could have happened possibly because President Obama's outgoing intelligence agencies stated that it could have taken place. When you hear that there was an organized effort by the Kremlin, there's no handwritten note from Vladimir stating, "We want Trump," signed everyone in our government. But they indicted Russian intelligence officials, and you know how that goes. Sussman was indicted. I guess he never lied, even though he did. He actually did lie. The intelligence officials they indicted were based on Company 1, that research or info or evidence, and Company 1 was literally outsourced by the Democratic Party, just like Sussman, just like the Steele dossier people, just like the tech people that were after Trump. They just pay others, third-party tech firms, and then the United States government says, oh, well, we don't have DNC servers, but we'll trust the third-party tech firm the DNC paid. It's like this elaborate racket that the entire left is okay with. And they're okay with it because they think every moving part is independent and apolitical and doing what they can for the government. And it certainly wasn't because they're after Trump. But they wouldn't allow the same behavior against them. Never in a million years, my God. They're actually caught with their hands in the cookie jar all the time, with their pants down all the time, sometimes literally. Just ask Bill. Oh, don't bring me into this. And still they won't admit that they were wrong or that there was politics involved or deceit or lying. But I'll just read you also to be clear. So this is a Lawfare article about what would happen if Trump had fired Mueller, and he should have fired Mueller. To be clear, such an action would incur a severe political cost. So supporters of unitary executive removing the special counsel would be constitutionally proper. It would be. It's part of the executive branch. Trump should have done that, and I'll tell you why. To the public at large, the termination of Mueller would amount to an admission of guilt and obstruction of justice. It might have amounted to admission of guilt, but how can you have obstruction of justice when you have a probe that is politically motivated from the very start? Just because you have an inspector general stating that he couldn't find testimonial documentary evidence doesn't mean that all of these individuals didn't despise Trump. Of course they did. That's why they're on MSNBC and CNN. That's why they're contributors to these places and get like, lofty public relations press releases at the Washington Post or New York Times. It's like it's a public relations monstrosity that they were a part of. It's a political side they were a part of. Okay? The Federal Bureau of Investigation is so partisan that even when James Baker testified against Sussman, the FBI legal counsel, Comey's top attorney, even when he testified against Sussman, the jury didn't even believe him. The jury said, we'll just believe the man accused of lying to this man. We'll believe the man accused to lying to the Bureau official, not the government official. Because they know the D.C. jury was actually right about one thing. They know that the Bureau wasn't duped or deceived. Sussman couldn't have been deceived. When that's a huge hurdle for the next trial, the Danchenko trial. But he won't have the luxury, I don't think, of being a high-powered attorney in D.C. But again, nobody trusted that a Bureau official would have been duped because they were in on it. And so when you have Peter Strzok saying, we'll stop Trump, okay, they're in on it. And then you have a Kevin Kleinsmith who falsified records to a judge. But here, the fallout from the firing of Mueller would likely be as politically devastating as the firing of Special Counsel Archibald Cox in 1973. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't have at all, because there was an active cover-up. Because the cover-up had to do with covering up the crime of a break-in. There was no crime with the Mueller probe. They were searching for a crime. Something that possibly could have taken place. And they eventually found that nobody conspired alongside the Russian government. Nobody even got a campaign finance violation. Nobody even got anything. There was never any indictment on anything to do with colluding. Okay, the only indictments were lying to the Bureau. Oh, that's right. But you can't do that with Sussman because the Bureau was in on setting up and framing Trump. Whereas George Papadopoulos was framed by Alexander Downer, who has direct ties to the Clintons. And Michael Flynn was framed by Peter Strzok, who, by the way, said, we'll stop Trump. And Andrew McCabe, as well, who also took money, hundreds of thousands of dollars from Democrats in Virginia. Every single person in this sordid nightmare is compromised in some way or linked to the Clintons. Again, they do this very well. That's like what they do. They're very good at this. And media is a willing participant, but what they do is they say it's always plausible deniability for Democrats, and it's always immense suspicion for Trump. So with Democrats, it's you can't prove that Hunter took money only because his name was the same name as the vice president and the future president. You can't prove that he made millions upon millions of dollars through pay-to-play schemes. And with Trump, it's, something happened. He benefited from those Facebook ads and the DNC emails. Something happened. Oh, I have to investigate. Special counsel. Mueller. Comey said that he asked for loyalty. So the tinfoil hat people are on the left, trust me. It's not like they say that Republicans believe, or Trump Republicans believe in, that whole message board thing was a complete hoax, almost certainly started by Democratic operatives, and I was one of the first people on the planet saying it was dangerous, nobody should ever listen to it, it's an obvious psyop, hoax, whatever. You can see the debate where I, tell the world it's a horrible thing in 2018. on my website, hagoodman.com. You can see my debates there. You can see my writing as well on The Hill, the Huffington Post Salon, the Jerusalem Post, the Federalist, other publications. But anyway, however, as we learn day by day, history has a tendency to repeat itself. It should have repeated itself. Trump should have fired Mueller, and then he would have called their bluff. They had nothing on him. What were they going to do? They had nothing on him. They were never going to find anything. The only thing they had was suspicion. And that suspicion was amplified exponentially by a special counsel. So, which helped them, by the way, in the 2018 midterms. We had an amazing economy, record low unemployment. The economy was soaring, booming. And the only thing Democrats really had was a promise of Medicare for all, which of course they lied about, and the Mueller probe, which was a public relations gift. It was the antithesis of democracy. It was one of the most despicable moments in American history. To investigate a president on what outgoing intelligence chiefs accuse him of without any direct evidence. And to Democrats and media, it was, well, we have to investigate this. He's capable of anything. And with Hunter or Joe or Hillary or anybody else, no, they would never do that. How dare you even accuse them? So, anyway, hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Very important segment. I know there's a method to the madness here. If you've lasted this long, tell your friends about this channel. We're almost at 200,000 subs, people. And it's because of you. Please go ahead. I know that there are some people who are like, well, I don't really like when you bring up your other channels. It's like, I'm sorry to inconvenience you. I'm just trying to grow 2 other channels since I've accurately predicted the market downfall and the economic collapse we're seeing. I think there's something to be said about that. So anyway, the channels are below. Please subscribe to them. They're good, very good channels. They're below in the pinned comment or in any pinned comment. So you might not see a pinned comment until not right away, but you'll see it. Go to the segment prior to this one. You'll see the pinned comment. You'll see the channels there. Anyway, thank you so very much. Have a fantastic Saturday. I'll be back in about 2-3 hours. Be here for the next segment and go to the stock market crash channel right now and the Bitcoin crash channel right now. Thank you.